A $12 capture card? No. Those things cost like $140 to $250. But maybe, just maybe, it works. Okay, I came across this little thing on Amazon and I paid 12 bucks for it. Uh, I was really wanting one of those Elgatos, the PCIe slots, but right now they're like at $250. And there's no way. Now, the pros with that, it's got the HDMI in and HDMI out, and it's 4K and what have you. But I was thinking, what am I doing that's 4K? Nothing right now. Absolutely nothing. They do have a 4K version of this, and it's a couple dollars more. And if I'd have seen it, I'd have gotten it. But this is 1080. It does work off the 2.0, the USB 2.0, and not the 3.0, where the HD one does work off the 3.0. But was it worth it? Well, today we have a special treat for you. So let's go.
Right. Computer. Text. CPP.
Today we have a special guest. It's Will Wong from the Wong Reviewer. How you doing, Will?
Good. How are you, Ryan? Thanks for having me on your channel.
No, you're good. I appreciate it. Your time and everything else. So what I understand is you have actually the Elgato CAMLINK 4K capture card, and it runs on Amazon American $148 US, and then up in Canada it was like about what, 180?
180. Yeah, about 184. Yep.
Right. So what we're trying to do is actually figure out what the difference is between a $13 capture card and a $140 to $180 capture card, and the pros and cons to having such capture card.
Right.
So on your end, it looks pretty good. I'm using a GoPro. Why don't you tell the viewers what you're using over on your side and set up and what have you?
Yeah. So on my side, what I'm shooting through now is I'm using my Fuji X-T3 mirrorless camera, and I have the 16 to 55 2.8 lens on there. So it kind of gives a bit of bokeh in the background, but that's the setup I use right now for shooting my YouTube videos, as well as for my Zoom conferencing.
Well, that's pretty sweet. I have seen a few of those videos that you have popped up there, and there's actually one about that Elgato CAMLINK camera that you did a while back ago. So what I'll probably do for my subscribers as well is throw a link on this video below and let them check out your video on the Elgato CAMLINK 4K. Now, I will let you know this is 2.0 versus the 3.0 as well. So it's actually pretty impressive. So I guess what I would say is the pros is price. By far price. I know my lighting here is kind of one-sided and what have you.
Right.
And you had mentioned earlier that I have a little bit of a pink tone to my face, and it may just be this GoPro.
Right.
It could just be the GoPro, and let's face it, $120 camera versus whatever priced out camera that you have, that Fuji. I'm sure it was probably good over $1,000.
Yeah.
So, but side by side comparison. You got Will on the left side, me on the right side.
Yeah.
$148, $12.
Right.
So I did buy a second one of these, so I can actually do a game, and you can actually check out the video from Zoom that I did last week, and I actually used two of these for two separate cameras. So what do you think, Will?
Yeah. So from like a web conferencing point of view, from using the different capture cards, like I bought my capture card before Fuji actually released their own software to allow myself to use a Fujifilm as a mirrorless as a webcam. So I bought it before they before they put that software out there. And then I'm looking at the comparison right now with side-by-side view with myself and Ryan. I say the $12 capture card is definitely pretty good. It's still a better option than using a webcam on your laptop if you have one, which is usually around 1.2 megapixels. But looking at the video quality, the feed from the capture card from your GoPro, I would say it's very usable and very doable for video conferencing type of application for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, in this, and right now we're during all this stuff. Capture cards are hard to find. Capture cards, when you do find them, some of them are price gouged. So
Absolutely.
getting a $13 capture card, let's face it, $13 on the pocketbook right now is a whole lot better than, even up to the $240 4K capture cards that you got with the PCI slot.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as that's concerned, I think if you get even if you get two of them, a $12 capture card is well worth the money. Even if you want to get into some of your streaming on Twitch or what have you,
Right.
I think for the beginner, I would go with this until you start to build your channel. And I believe on Twitch as well, you're only going to be doing gameplay at 720 anyway, because I don't think it'll actually allow you to do the whole 4K just because of the rendering process of the video.
Right.
So if you're doing like Will said, he uses that capture card to video a lot of his YouTube videos. So at 4K, recording the 4K, that would be well worth it to get the 4K version of that. And they do make a 4K version of this. I just didn't see it until after I bought this one.
Right.
And I think that was on there for like $18.
Right. So I'm looking on Amazon now in Canada for that capture card that you have now for Canadian dollars. It's $30 Canadian, which is not bad at all compared to paying almost $185 for the capture card I'm using right now. And if I was to get a second capture card to do OBS, to do streaming from another camera, I would probably opt to go with the cheaper capture card for $30. When you're streaming, like Ryan said, you're not going to be streaming in full 4K. At most, you'd probably be 1080p. And I think, from what I see right now, from a web conferencing point of view, I would totally consider getting the cheaper capture card. It does what it needs to do.
Absolutely. And I'm looking on, because I'm in the American side,
Yeah.
and it's $14.90 right now on Amazon. And I did pick this up for $12. So dates, times, price hikes.
Yeah.
So that's it's a deal. I would highly recommend getting it. In in a worst case scenario, you're out $14,
Right.
30 Canadian.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, you're not breaking the bank, and you're not skipping a meal.
Yeah, for sure.
So
But it would be interesting, look, I know for myself, if I do pick one up, is to do a side-by-side comparison using the Elgato and using the capture card from a live feed versus doing it through the internet, because I'm pretty sure the internet might affect some of the quality as well from the download upload speeds. And I'd be curious to know if I have my Fuji X-T3 and my X-H1 shooting using two different capture cards. I'd be curious to see what that would look like.
that would be a great side-by-side comparison for the local side of it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, but I think that was a steal of a deal, Ryan. I think that's a really wise budgetary choice that you made there for your card, as we're just talking about your graphics card there. So,
right.
So I think that was a really wise and smart financial decision for sure. And going back in time, if I had known that card existed, I would 100% would have went with that card versus going with the ELGOTO CAMLINK. I honestly think it was a bit of an overkill for myself to purchase this capture card for my main purposes, which was to use it for streaming online and for doing web video conferencing, especially when I don't have a laptop with a camera in it. I was anxious to kind of use my X-T3 as a webcam for work.
Right. And I also mentioned too, there is a 4K version of it. So,
Mhm.
you know, that would be beneficial for like what you said, which you do a lot of times with the recording locally and versus the 1080. Because I'm still doing 1080 right now until I up my game or
Right.
pocketbook, one of the two.
Combination of both.
So,
For sure.
combination of both. So,
Yeah.
well, I really appreciate it, Will. Is there anything else you'd like to add to the for the viewers on this? I think
No,
we've
thanks.
covered it.
I think we have. And Ryan, thanks again for inviting me to be on your YouTube channel. It's an honor, and thank you for doing that. And it's been awesome. Like, this is part of the YouTube community where, which I found has been really cool, is I get to meet other content creators like yourself through this medium. And we live in two different countries, and it's cool that we shared the same kind of interest and being able to kind of bond over it. I thought that, and that's pretty cool. And that's something I totally never expected when I started my channel.
Well, I appreciate so much for you taking the time just from the very beginning, whenever I first actually asked my first question about that card for the M.2, because that's where it all started. Because I had one because this build was going to be a completely different build than what it turned out to be, and I didn't end up using it, but it'll go into another build. But I appreciate you, you know, accepting me with open arms and just, you know, answering questions and helping me out along my way. I'm like 12 or 13 videos in right now, and you have been a champ, and I appreciate you so dearly. I
All
really
good, Matt.
do.
All good.
So I appreciate it. Well, that was Will. I'm Ryan. I'll see you on the exit side of it. So I appreciate it, Will.
Awesome. Take care.
Take care. All right. Well, that was good stuff. I want to again thank Will for coming on my channel to demonstrate the difference between the $12 and the $140 capture card. I will put a link on his video down below, and I will put a link on the Amazon for getting this card. At the time of shooting that, it was like up to $14. So price might change by the time you see this. However, it's still a good buy. So check Will's channel out, and then if you like what you see here, consider subscribing, hit a like, and thank you for watching. Bye.